The soda can hit the pavement with a dull thud, splashing sticky liquid across the Sentinel's polished boots. The crowded Lincoln Memorial Park froze, their gasps cutting through the summer heat. Jaden Carter, a 15-year-old in flashy high tops, smirked, his phone already recording for the perfect viral clip. He expected chuckles, maybe a twitch from the stoic soldier. But Nathan Brooks, the tomb guard, didn't budge. His eyes, hidden behind sunglasses, burned with a fury no one saw coming. In that moment, a single act of disrespect was about to ignite a firestorm that would transform a teen, a family, and a nation's understanding of honor. What Jaden didn't know, what no one in that crowd could have guessed, was that the man he mocked carried the weight of a fallen comrade, and the tomb he guarded held secrets that would soon unravel everything. Before we dive into the story, where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments. And if you believe values like honor, courage, and sacrifice still matter, join us in keeping their legacy alive. It was Veterans Day at Lincoln Memorial Park. The sun blazed down on a sea of visitors gathered around the tomb of the unknown hero. The air was thick with heat and reverence, the kind of quiet that settles over a crowd when something sacred is about to happen. Families, veterans, and tourists stood shoulder to shoulder, their eyes fixed on the lone sentinel, pacing with mechanical precision. His charcoal gray uniform was crisp, his cap sat low, and his sunglasses hid any hint of emotion. Every step, every turn, every click of his heels echoed with purpose. This was Nathan Brooks, a 30-year-old tomb guard, a member of the 1st National Regiment, and a man who carried the weight of honor on his shoulders. Among the crowd was the Carter family from Seattle. Marcus Carter, a tech entrepreneur, was dressed in a sleek blazer, his eyes glued to his tablet as he fired off emails. His wife, Sophia, clutched a park map, her designer sunglasses perched on her nose. Between them stood their 15-year-old son, Jaden, his dark hair styled perfectly, his outfit screaming wealth. Limited edition sneakers, a custom hoodie, and a brand new phone dangling from his hand. Jaden wasn't here for the ceremony. He was here because his parents thought a trip to Boston would boost their social media clout. But to Jaden, this was just another dull stop on a vacation he didn't want. "This is so boring," Jaden muttered, loud enough for nearby tourists to glance over. "Why are we standing here watching some guy march back and forth? It's like 90 degrees out here." Sophia sighed, barely looking up. "Jaden, honey, just try to appreciate it. This is important." "Important?" Jaden scoffed, scrolling through his phone. "It's just some old tomb. I bet this guy's just a wannabe soldier playing dress-up." Marcus didn't even look up from his screen. "Let him complain, Sophia. He'll get over it." The crowd hushed as Nathan completed his 21 steps, turned, and faced the tomb. His movements were flawless, a living tribute to the unknown heroes who gave everything. Nathan had earned this post through years of grueling training, driven by the memory of his older sister, Kayla, who never came home from Iraq. Every step he took was for Kayla, for the fallen, for the country. But Jaden didn't see that. All he saw was a chance to go viral. "I'm gonna get a dope video of this guy," Jaden said, raising his phone. "Bet I can make him flinch." He started recording, narrating loudly. "Yo, check out this robot soldier. Bet he's roasting under that cap." A few tourists shot Jaden dirty looks, but he didn't care. He was used to getting attention, used to his parents smoothing over any trouble he caused. Back home, teachers let him slide, and his friends idolized his family's wealth. To Jaden, the world was his playground, and rules didn't apply. As Nathan turned for another pass, Jaden's boredom turned to mischief. He spotted a half-empty soda can in his hand, a leftover from lunch. A grin spread across his face. "Yo, this is gonna be fire," he whispered to himself. He stepped closer to the rope barrier, ignoring the signs that read, "Stay back." The crowd murmured, sensing trouble, but Marcus and Sophia were too distracted to notice. With a quick flick of his wrist, Jaden tossed the soda can. It hit the ground near Nathan's feet, splashing sticky liquid onto his polished boots. The crowd gasped, a collective intake of breath that broke the silence. Nathan didn't flinch. His face remained stone, his steps unbroken, but his jaw tightened ever so slightly. Years of combat, years of discipline held him steady. He'd faced worse than a spoiled teen, enemy fire, roadside bombs, the loss of his sister. But this was a different kind of insult. Jaden laughed louder now, egged on by the crowd's reaction. Yo! He didn't even blink. This guy's a total statue. He raised his phone again, zooming in on Nathan's boots. Check out the mess I made. This is going viral. An elderly man in the crowd, wearing a Gulf War veteran cap, leaned toward his wife. That kid's got no respect, he muttered. Someone needs to teach him a lesson. Jaden, oblivious, kept going. He stepped right up to the rope, leaning over it. Hey, soldier dude, you gonna clean that up or what? Bet you can't even talk. He turned to the crowd, expecting laughs, but all he got were glares. A mother pulled her kids closer, shielding them from the scene. A group of teens whispered, shaking their heads. Marcus finally looked up from his tablet. Jaden, what are you doing? Get back here. Relax, Dad, Jaden said, waving him off. I'm just having fun. These guys are paid to stand there, right? They work for us. The words hung in the air, heavy and wrong. Nathan's eyes, hidden behind his sunglasses, locked onto Jaden for a split second. He'd heard worse insults in war zones, but this teen's arrogance cut deep. The tomb of the unknown hero wasn't just a monument. It was a shrine to sacrifice, to men and women who gave their lives without ever knowing fame or fortune. And here was this kid treating it like a social media backdrop. Jaden, undeterred, pulled out his phone again. Time for the money shot, he said, stepping over the rope barrier. The crowd erupted in murmurs, phones coming out to record. Jaden strutted toward Nathan, holding his phone high for a selfie. Yo, me and the statue guy. This is gonna get 1 million likes. That was the line. Nathan's training screamed at him to stay still, to ignore the provocation, but something snapped. This wasn't just about him. It was about Kayla, about every soldier who never came home. In one fluid motion, faster than anyone expected, Nathan stepped forward, snatched the phone from Jaden's hand, and dropped it onto the pavement. The crack of the screen echoed like a gunshot. The crowd froze. Jaden's jaw dropped, his eyes wide with shock. You broke my phone, he screamed. That's a $2,000 phone. You're gonna pay for that. Nathan returned to his post, his face unreadable, his posture perfect, but the air had changed. The crowd buzzed with whispers, some cheering quietly, others stunned. Security guards, led by Inspector Rachel Morgan, pushed through the crowd. Rachel, a no-nonsense officer with 12 years at Lincoln Memorial Park, spoke into her radio. We've got a situation at the tomb. Kid crossed the line, and the sentinel responded. Marcus stormed forward, his face red. This is outrageous. That soldier assaulted my son. I'm calling my lawyer. Do you know who I am? Rachel raised a hand, her voice calm but firm. Sir, your son threw a soda can at a tomb guard and crossed a restricted barrier. That's assault and trespassing on federal property. You're lucky the sentinel didn't do more. He's a kid, Sophia shrieked, clutching her purse. You can't treat him like a criminal. Ma'am, Rachel said. Age doesn't excuse disrespecting the tomb. This is a sacred place, and your son just defiled it. Jaden, still staring at his shattered phone, looked around. For the first time, he noticed the crowd's faces. Anger, disgust, disappointment. A group of veterans stood nearby, their arms crossed, their eyes hard. One of them, a woman in her 50s with a navy pin, shook her head. I buried friends here, she said, loud enough for Jaden to hear. You should be ashamed. The hashtag Lincoln Kid was already trending. Clips of Jaden's stunt and Nathan's response were spreading across social media. News vans were en route, and the story was hitting national headlines. Teen disrespects tomb of the unknown hero. Rachel turned to her team. Escort the family to the security office. We need to sort this out. Marcus protested, but the guards were firm. They led the Carters away as the crowd parted, some snapping photos, others muttering about spoiled rich kids. Nathan resumed his march, his boots still stained with soda, but his focus unbreakable. Inside, though, he felt a storm. He'd broken protocol, something a tomb guard rarely did, but he didn't regret it. Not yet. In the security office, a small air-conditioned room lined with photos of Lincoln Memorial Park's history, the Carters sat across from Rachel and Colonel Elizabeth Warren, the commanding officer of Nathan's unit. Elizabeth, a 52-year-old veteran with graying hair and a steely gaze, didn't mince words. "Mr. Carter, your son committed assault on a federal officer and disrespected a national monument," she said. "This isn't a game. The tomb represents every soldier who gave their life for this country. Your son treated it like a circus." Marcus leaned forward, his businessman instincts kicking in. "Look, Colonel, I'm sure we can work this out. I'll write a check to the park. Cover any damages. Let's keep this quiet." Elizabeth's eyes narrowed. "This isn't about money, Mr. Carter. It's about respect or the complete lack of it. Your son needs to learn that actions have consequences, no matter how much money you have." Sophia clutched her husband's arm. "He's only 15. He didn't mean any harm. He's just a kid. A kid who thinks he's above the rules," Rachel said. "And judging by your reactions, I can see where he gets it." Jaden slumped in his chair, his usual swagger gone. The weight of the situation was starting to hit. His phone, his lifeline, was in pieces. The world was watching, and they weren't on his side. For the first time, he felt small. Elizabeth stood. "I'm calling in a specialist to assess your son. This isn't just about punishment. It's about making sure he understands what he's done. Until then, you're not leaving the park." An hour later, Dr. Sarah Evans arrived, a 40-year-old psychologist who specialized in troubled teens. Sarah had seen kids like Jaden before, spoiled, entitled, craving attention, but never taught responsibility. She sat down with Jaden in a private room, her voice calm but direct. "Jaden, I need you to tell me why you did what you did," she said, her pen poised over a notepad. Jaden shrugged, avoiding her eyes. "I was bored. That guy was just standing there like a robot. I thought it'd be funny." "Funny?" Sarah raised an eyebrow. "You threw a soda can at a soldier guarding the tomb of the unknown hero. Do you know what that tomb represents?" Jaden shrugged again. "Some dead soldiers, I guess." Sarah leaned forward. "Those dead soldiers gave their lives for this country. They died so you could have the freedom to stand here and act foolish. That guard, Nathan, is honoring them. And you disrespected that." Jaden shifted uncomfortably. "It was just a soda can. It's not like I hurt him." "It's not about physical harm, Jaden. It's about respect. You treated a sacred place like your personal playground. How do you think that guard felt?" "I don't know," Jaden mumbled. "He didn't even react. That's because he's trained to stay professional, even when people like you try to provoke him. But trust me, he felt it. And so did every veteran in that crowd." Jaden looked down, his fingers twitching. He didn't have an answer. For the first time, he was starting to see the guard as a person, not just a prop. Outside, the media frenzy was growing. News outlets had picked up the story, and #LincolnKid was trending worldwide. Commentators debated parenting, privilege, and patriotism. A viral post from a veteran read, "This kid needs to learn what sacrifice means. The tomb isn't a joke." Marcus's phone buzzed with calls from his PR team, warning that his company's stock was taking a hit. Sophia's social media was flooded with hate comments, forcing her to go private. Back in the room, Sarah made her recommendation. "Jaden needs a wake-up call," she told Elizabeth and the Carters. "I'm proposing a 4-week community service program here at Lincoln Memorial Park. He'll work with the grounds crew, meet veterans, and learn about the tomb's significance. If he doesn't cooperate, we'll escalate to juvenile authorities." Marcus blanched. "You can't be serious. He's a kid, not a criminal." "He committed assault on federal property," Elizabeth said. "Be grateful we're offering an alternative to legal charges. This is about teaching him, not punishing him." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. But our vacation, we're supposed to fly to London next week. Your vacation is over, Rachel said bluntly. Your son's education starts now. Jaden was silent, his mind racing. Community service, cleaning a cemetery, this was a nightmare. But the look in Sarah's eyes told him he wasn't getting out of this. Over the next 4 weeks, Jaden's world changed. He woke up at dawn each day, trading his designer clothes for jeans and a work shirt. He swept pathways, pulled weeds, and polished headstones under the Boston sun. The first week, he complained constantly, but the grounds crew didn't coddle him. They were veterans, men and women who'd served in wars Jaden had only read about. They didn't care about his family's money. One afternoon, Sarah took Jaden to meet Evelyn Harper, an 88-year-old Korean war nurse who tended to wounded soldiers at Busan. Evelyn's hands trembled as she spoke, but her voice was strong. I held boys younger than you as they died, she said. They didn't know if we'd win the war, but they fought anyway. That's what the tomb is for, those who gave everything. Jaden listened, his usual sarcasm gone. Evelyn's stories weren't like the movies he watched or the games he played. They were real, raw, and heavy. For the first time, he felt something like shame. During the 3rd week, Jaden attended a Veterans Day wreath-laying ceremony. He stood in the crowd, watching Nathan march again. The guard's precision, the silence of the crowd, the weight of the moment. It hit Jaden differently now. He saw the pride in Nathan's steps, the respect in the veterans' salutes. He realized the tomb wasn't just a monument. It was a promise to never forget. On the final day of his program, Sarah arranged a meeting between Jaden and Nathan. They sat in a quiet office overlooking the cemetery, with Colonel Warren and Sarah present. Nathan was in civilian clothes, but his military bearing was unmistakable. Jaden's stomach churned as he faced the man he'd disrespected. Nathan, I'm sorry, Jaden said, his voice steady but soft. I was a jerk. I didn't get what you do, what this place means. I treated you like a prop, and that was wrong. Nathan studied him, his expression unreadable. Why'd you do it, kid? Jaden hesitated. I thought it'd make me look cool online. I didn't think about you as a person. I didn't think about the soldiers you're honoring. I've been talking to veterans, learning about what they went through. My uncle was a Marine. He'd be ashamed of me. Nathan nodded slowly. My sister was a soldier, too. Kayla. She died in Iraq when I was your age. I guard the tomb for her, for all the ones who didn't come home. When you threw that soda, you weren't just disrespecting me. You were disrespecting them. Jaden's eyes stung. I get that now. I can't undo it, but I want to make it right. Nathan leaned forward. You're starting to. Admitting you were wrong takes guts. Keep listening. Keep learning. That's how you honor the fallen. Jaden nodded, his throat tight. I will. I promise. Nathan extended his hand. Jaden shook it, the grip firm and real. For the first time, Jaden felt like he was being seen. Not as a rich kid, but as someone capable of change. The story didn't end there. Jaden's journey became national news. A redemption arc that replaced #LincolnKid with #TombGuardLesson. He started a blog, sharing what he'd learned about sacrifice and respect, hoping to reach other kids like him. Marcus and Sophia, shaken by the experience, enrolled in parenting classes, determined to raise Jaden differently. Nathan continued his duty, his boots polished, his steps precise, a silent guardian of the fallen. The cracked phone was never replaced, but what Jaden gained, humility, respect, a sense of something bigger than himself, was worth more than any gadget. The tomb of the unknown hero stood as it always had, a reminder that some things are sacred, and some lessons change you forever. If you enjoyed the story, consider sending a super chat to help bring more stories like this. Now, click on the video on the screen to hear another story that's just as powerful and captivating, with courage, sacrifice, and a choice that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about duty and justice.